Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's Reporters for the 23rd, and well, we got a little stabilization the other day. This is more or less related to the prospects of the healthcare because they feel if healthcare doesn't pass, then the likelihood of tax reform is subject to failure as well. So this really becomes a pivotal move, and well, we'll see how it plays out, because I think the markets basically was telling us that they lost confidence really quick, and most of this buildup is about confidence, and if you erode confidence, you've got a problem. Plus, we saw the spike above with the orange, and that usually leads to decline, which is exactly what we witnessed. So from an indicator standpoint, we're aware of it. There was no question about it. We had reached matching highs, lower shakeout, also problematic and a little overbought. So we filled back in some of this, but geez, I mean, the potential is all the way back to here for retrace. So it just gives you an idea, right back down to 2,300. There's a potential. And I think that if it doesn't fail, I think that even 21, complete retrace of the entire move that we've seen is definitely within possibility. Let's flip to the NQ first instead of gold. Likewise, same situation. Actually, a little bit better, I think, here, because like I talk about this, those dips below the green ABM, in this particular case for the NQ or NASDAQ, 53.50.50. Now, it's not hard to, when it dips below that, you just set your buyback right at that level, and you get caught back in on the upswing. Now, it can get volatile, and you still have to protect that going through, but it becomes an effective way to stay with much more long-term runs, so to speak. Also working on an adjustment with the 50K. Actually, I can pop that chart up real quick. Utilizing my fib level retrace based on the algorithms resetting for the where the Fibonacci's are drawn, not just randomly from all the lows to the highs, but periodic to various readings, and then utilizing those along with our particular dips. So that's going to be coming through next, and looks really promising, because that will be a Power Mode 2 adjustment as opposed to a standalone. It's possible it could do either. Euro is holding on. This is an interesting one, because you're just about to get started with the Greek crisis. We've taken out the highs, so they've really caused a nice little short cover rally. Pretty much it was interesting, because a lot of the short activity that was looking for the euro to drive, you cannot run up against these central banks. When they showed the protection right here, this was the danger zone right over here, and they survived it. And every time it dips back down, there just isn't a lot of interest in the euro. So you have to have the central banks plop it up as best they can. Now, the biggest issue with this is going to be the Greece thing is building back up again, coupled with new terror attacks. It's going to be interesting to see if it has an effect in the French election. While everyone is so certain that Le Pen can't win, if she gets over 30% in the first round, I think there's going to be a reassessment from a lot of people, because that would be a shocker. So those are some of the guidelines to look for when assessing the situation. This is a crazy run for bonds. I mean, we had our green buy turnaround there. Fundamentally, does it make sense? Probably not, but as I've always said, sometimes you can't worry about that. You just have to go with what is. We were well on our track for that 113, and risk changed is really what happened, and people began to feel the market was more at risk than being safe in treasuries with uncertainty. Could change sharply if the healthcare reform does pass, and it looks like they're going to move towards tax reform. I think you could see a major shift right there. We're starting to see the realities that OPEC may not even be a factor anymore. This is just showing some, well, basically no interest. Now there's a minimum level of support, because there's a certain cost factor just in the general production, but with the supply that exists out there, it's hard to keep an equilibrium for oil at this particular point, and gold is going to continue to climb. No question in my mind about that. Yes, there will be retraces, but those become opportunities. Here's our 5K. We were pointing out we had a little nice short signal. When you rise above that 13.5, you should have to wait for that steel to come back up underneath there. That was a nice short signal. Played all the way through until we started getting our couple little buy setups that came with our dips below right there and resurgence of the shakeouts and popped up. We had a short aftermarket, and all we're doing is backfilling that at this particular point. Probably zeroes out, but I would expect that the pressure will be to return to the highs if the healthcare reform looks like it has a chance. Most recent reports started a few hours back indicating that there weren't enough votes to block it, and that's when this started to pull back into it. So that's one of those where literally people are trading the latest comment by whomever they think is more relevant. It's good volatility. You just follow the signals is the way to go. On balance, there really isn't any way to make a judgment on it. You're either going to get caught one way or another. So I think you've got to be flexible. The overall bias for the market has still generally been to the long side. However, we've been in this minor short configuration here, and we had the DOC spread. We're now out of that, but we haven't seen a turnaround yet of red DOC or even a rise in the midterm buyers. We do see some short-term buyer activity that captured that. And again, if we look at that rising ABM, it's all the way up at 2353, but the lower one down at 2350, I think, is more than adequate. We've yet to see it from a 5K standpoint, a set area of build. We're starting to develop one that's like right in the mid-range here in the 40 to 42 range, and so we'll see if that continues. That could end up being another pivot zone. So we'll go from there. As always, though, trade well. We'll talk again later.